You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome into MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Man, I love it when the races are in town. All our good buddies are coming in to see us, and the drags are here. Ralph Shaheen, Doug Herbert, and one of our best friends in the drag racing world, Tommy Johnson Jr. here, driver of that Make-A-Wish funny car. Happy to have you here, Bell.
I appreciate it. Love coming to town. Get to visit family, get to visit my friends, and we're going to do some racing as well.
Yeah, your whole family lives here, really.
Yeah. They've all been down here about 20 years now, I guess. So, yeah, get to come down here and see the fam and get to do some racing.
Yeah, that's great. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We got a pancake breakfast, right?
Pancake breakfast on Saturday? Yeah,
All
I think
right.
it's at your pit area.
Usually in my pit area.
It'll be easy for you to find.
Show up at the racetrack. Always smells so good over there.
Yeah. Bacon, you know.
Yeah, who doesn't love bacon?
Yeah. Right. Put a little extra weight in the car this weekend.
Yeah, well, that's never a problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get at it. Let's start talking about Charlotte right away. ZMAX Dragway this weekend. What do you expect out of the four wide here?
You know, the four wide format's always a little different. It's unique. It's exciting. You know, when you have 10,000 horsepower dragsters and you put them side by side and you got 20,000 horsepower, now we have 40,000. I mean, it's the extreme to the max, and it's for a driver, it's a little more difficult. It takes a little more brain power on the starting line to think, but it's an unbelievable show. I mean, a lot of people have never heard of Top Fuel Drag, and when they come out and they see them, they're like, "Wow, that's really intense." You know, it's unbelievable. It shakes the earth. When you've seen two, come see four. It's unbelievable. Trust me. I mean, even myself, I get a little overwhelmed with it.
Hey, Tommy, the last four wide race just a couple weeks ago at Vegas, you were runner-up, running good. The car's been running good. So, I mean, you've had a lot of experience. I think you've raced at every four wide race probably that there's been in the last 10 years. So.
Yeah, pretty close to it. Yeah, and it's something I enjoy, actually, because, like I said, it does take a little more thought process, and it's a little harder for the driver. And one thing I like about it is a lot of drivers don't like it. They really don't like it. And I figure if they don't like it, that's good. Because
That's an
if
advantage.
I like it, I'm going to do better than they do.
That's
So
exactly right.
you're right. I've had some success at four. I think I've been in the final round of the four wide now like 4 or 5 times, and it's yet to win one. We've come close, runner up just a few weeks ago in Vegas, but it's just a format I seem to enjoy. Some of the guys don't, and I like it. You know, it's exciting. It's you've been drag racing a long time. When have you ever got second and you get to go to the next round? You know,
I know, right?
That's the best part about it. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty cool. We almost won, but it's okay. We'll get them next time because we can go on around.
Yeah, we got another chance.
Yeah, in drag racing, that's the toughest thing is, unlike NASCAR where I'll get it next lap. That was a bad lap. I'll get it next lap. We don't have that opportunity. You know, you miss by 1,000th of a second, you're going home.
The only time in racing where being the first loser is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. So you got to embrace it. Love it.
Well, and you look at the stands. I mean, over here at ZMAX 4 wide, the stands are packed. I mean, that's a lot of stands over here,
It's
too.
a lot of stands.
In Vegas,
Same way
a couple
in
weeks
Vegas.
ago, they were packed.
Yeah, I tell you what, first year at Vegas for the four wide at the spring race, and I'd never seen so many people there. You know, it's just incredible. What I found is we were in Vegas a few weeks ago, four wide. I think everybody from England, the UK was there. Everybody from Australia was there. They all want to come see this. You know, four cars side by side. It draws a big international crowd to the four wide as well.
So they go watch them racing, and then they go gamble and
Right.
watch showgirls or whatever.
Right. It's really hard to get your head around it when you haven't seen it.
It is. You have to see it in person. I mean, a regular drag race, you got to see this to understand it. I said, unless your TV explodes in your living room when we're on TV, you're just not going to get the feeling. It's the sight, it's the sound, it's the smell. It has everything. It's the most intense thing you've ever seen. And like I said, if your living room doesn't start shaking and blow up, you're not going to get the feel unless you see this in person.
Do you have to prepare mentally differently for the four wide than you would for a normal two guys?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's there's so many different factors by adding 2 more cars because, like we were talking about, first and second move on to the next round. You know, if we go out there and we start smoking the tires, I can't see the guy 4 lanes away from me. I can't tell where they're at. So I have to pedal the car no matter what. You know, a lot of times on a Sunday, I go out and start smoking the tires. I'll pedal it, see the other guy leaving me, and I'll shut it off. The race is over. I'm not going to catch him. Four wide, you can't do that. You have to continue to pedal till you get to the finish line because you have no idea where the other 2 cars are. You could still come in second, move on to the next round. The staging is much more difficult. I'm watching 4 stage bulbs now instead of 2. Um, what's really funny is there used to be games. If somebody would screw with somebody on the starting line, 4 wide, if you screw with somebody, there's going to be 3 guys at the other end wanting to beat you up, not just one. So you don't see a lot of people screwing around on the start line, which I thought might happen because you could really screw with somebody with staging up there. But it doesn't happen because everybody's so kind of worried about it.
Well, I've seen a lot of red lights, foul starts shown, and not even really, it didn't seem like that big of a deal, but they just, they're just kind of taking their time a little bit, and bam, they're out.
Yeah, you can get timed out really easy because you're not paying attention to all the lights. You're not sure who's staged yet, and I've seen a lot of people get timed out, didn't stage on time. Seen a lot of guys take off when the last guy staged, So it takes a lot more concentration on the starting line, and you have to prepare that going into the weekend, or you're behind already.
Well, we're not behind yet. We got a lot to talk about with Tommy Johnson Jr. here. He's going to be with us all show long, and it's a big week here on MRN because we've got Procore Week. MRN, Procore, Talladega Superspeedway. It's going to be a big week, so stay with us. We're going to have a lot more coming your way with Tommy Johnson Jr. right after this.
If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of the Do It Right rebate. Get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi folks, Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, we use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
Listen up, builders. That's all that separates first place from dead last. When every second counts, you don't have time to second-guess your tools. That's why Procore's construction management platform was built to help your teams stay on budget, on schedule, and in control. With easy-to-use mobile tools, our software makes managing construction projects easier, whether you're building an airport or a carport. For more information or to schedule a free demo, visit Procore.com.
Back here on MRN's Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I was just thinking during the break, I've actually worked with both of you guys as colleagues on air. You obviously here, and then you and I did drag racing shows together.
Back in the old TNN days.
Yeah, we did the IHRA shows together.
Yeah, that was ages ago, right?
I remember one, we did the race in Shreveport.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had to drive all the way, was it to Dallas to do the voiceover?
Yeah. Yeah, there was some interesting weekends we went on the
Good thing
tour
I drove that day because
we'd have got there a lot quicker if I would have.
Well, the good thing between Shreveport and Dallas is just one road.
There, yeah.
It's
we
one
were
road.
flat out. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about TJ Racing. That's another thing you got cooking on the side.
Yeah, I've been keeping busy. Last time in 2008, lost my ride. End of the year, sponsorships went away. I'm like, oh, now what do I do? And then didn't really have a plan. And along the way, did some odds and ends driving for people. But I went to work for Schumacher, built them a shop, kind of inside their shop, and left there and started a little parts business. I saw the need for what all the teams did. We would send a guy out at 9 o'clock in the morning to go get supplies for the week, just to restock our trailer, and he would leave at 9 in the morning and stop about 10 different places and get back to shop about 3:30 and always forget something and have to leave again. And so I kind of combined everything that he went to look for and restocked their trailers every week and took that all in-house. Now they come to my shop. They restock their trailer in about 30 minutes and guys back to work. So it's a one-stop shop. Everything from nuts and bolts to spark plugs to zip ties, tape, paper towels, microfiber towels, plastics, bearings, just everything they use every single week. They can come and restock their trailers and they're back in business for every race.
That's great. That's great.
What else do you keep busy now? I see you're making some candles, got candle making and nitro racing.
Yeah,
I guess candles lighting and
Lighting the
Yeah.
candles.
They always say light the candles. Let's go. But
You took him a little serious,
yeah,
didn't you?
I got married in the off season this year, and we were engaged. And my wife-
Fantastic lady.
Yeah.
by
Yeah, you
the
got to
way.
tell us
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
So we'll get to her, but but no, she said I want a candle. I've seen them. They're made out of wine bottles. People cut them and make a candle out of them. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll make you one of those. That's no big deal. Well, it's a little harder than it looked. I see all the YouTube video, and you're like, yeah, that doesn't work. That's not how you do it.
Tried
But-
that one.
Yeah, tried that. Didn't work. But so I made her one, and somebody saw it, and they said, oh, that's cool. Make me one. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll make you one. And I made another one, and about 15 of them later, I'm like, maybe I could sell some of these. So I started making them, and then we got an Etsy store, and she does the pouring of the candles, and I do all the glass work. And next thing you know, we've I don't know how many. I bet I've made over 3,000 or 4,000 of them now.
Oh,
you know?
wow. You are like
Yeah, we've made wine bottles and beer bottles and liquor bottles, or I've made them out of salsa jars and whatever you want to do. If it's glass, I'll make it. So you start off. I started doing it by hand, and that was pretty tough. And then I sanded it by hand. That was really tough. And I got me a little sander, and then I bought me this little diamond bladed bandsaw, little thing.
And
Now I
there it
have
goes.
I think my bandsaw now is about a $2,500 bandsaw. I have about $1,000 sander.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
You're
smart.
in production.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, there's got to be an easier way,
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
is. Just spend some money. There's easier ways. So,
Yeah.
the quality has come up. The better equipment you have, the better quality you're going to have. So, yeah, now they're pretty nice. Now when I make one now, it actually looks like it was made that way. That you can't tell it was actually a bottle. First ones, yeah, maybe you could tell they were a little rough, but these new ones, they're pretty nice. Yeah. So I'm starting to do them for some wineries, making their bottles.
Really?
They sell them in their tasting rooms, and yeah, I've made them for John Paul DeJoria.
Yeah.
He had Patron.
Yeah,
I made
sure.
made
Paul
him-
Mitchell guy.
Yeah, I made him a Patron one. Papa John, I made him one. He has his own Woodford Reserve line, and so yeah, we've made them for some 1%ers and a little bit of everybody. I mean, it's easy gift, like
Yeah.
hey, what should we get them? They drink that. All right, we'll get them one of these.
What about out of like race car parts? Header pipes or anything like that?
Pistons. We might have
Pistons?
some piston candles. Yeah, that's
Okay.
you can easily make a candle out of a piston and done blower pulleys. Made some blower pulleys. A couple crew guys said, hey, I got these blower pulleys. Bought a new house. Like to have some candles for my mantle. They're pretty good looking, actually. They're pretty neat. So yeah, you got to get creative. Even made now. I got a light. I made a white light for my wife for the kitchen out of wine bottles and. Yeah, getting production on those now. I'm going to start doing those. So,
Well, tell us about that. So on the off season, you got married.
yeah.
And it sounds like this has turned into a whole entrepreneurial
Yeah.
relationship as well. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So she knew nothing about drag racing, zero. Didn't even know what it was. Mike Green, one of my former crew chiefs, his wife gives me a call one Saturday. Says, I work with a gal I think you're perfect for. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So we went on a date, and that was 4.5 years ago. So I knew she was going to be the one when I called home one day, and she says, I saw it put a hole out on the left side. I knew you weren't going to win. I'm like, how did you know it put a hole? Well, I saw it. Yeah, but how do you know that? Well, I watch. I pay attention. I'm like, she's going to be okay. Yeah. So now she loves it. She goes to probably 12 or 13 races a year, and she'll be in tonight. I got to pick her up at the airport. So, but yeah, no, it's just great. She's fallen in love with drag racing and perfect, having a great time. And she's I love that we do this stuff together. We have a great time doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just really good off season. We went to Australia on our honeymoon, and went down there and raced and met a few of the friends down there, and they had like, oh, we got a beach house if you ever want to come down. And I said, honeymoon. Hey, that beach house still available?
How
Yeah.
about when we go
So,
to race? We just
yeah,
tie it all
yeah,
together.
so-
Yeah, that's a
Well,
good
I
idea.
liked how you tied the drag racing into the honeymoon. That's where
she's a
really
good
proved-
gal,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
she
So,
really proved her.
I told her, we said, for letting us stay at their beach house, we got to go watch them race. So we got to go to the racetrack. So we get there on a Friday, and Saturday we're at the drag strip. So
Yeah.
Monday we're going to go to the beach house.
Yeah.
But first we got to go to the drag strip. So she's good. She's a good gal. She understands.
Yeah, well, before we take another break here, real quick, tell me about the Hellcat because you got me
Yeah.
real. And I'm not talking about the race car, but you got me real jealous. In fact, I called you about that.
Yeah. That's so last year Dodge and Mopar did a really neat thing as a promo. We have 4 DSR funny cars racing for Dodge and Mopar. They come out at Indy and says, all right, here's a little incentive for you guys in the countdown. Whoever finishes the highest in points at DSR, we're going to give you a Hellcat for a year. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. So got down to the final race of the season. I was I think I was fourth in the points. Ron Capps was third. We're both in the semifinals, and we're less than a round apart. And I'm watching Ron go out. He runs in front of me. He loses that round. I'm like, we got to win. We got to go to the final. And we won the round, went to the final. I turned the corner. I come out the roof hatch. I said, where's the keys, baby? Where's the keys? You know,
That was the first thing.
That was it. Where's the key? Well, I know we won, but where's the keys? You know, so, I got the Hellcat. Got to go online, order it, pick out everything I wanted, and showed up here right after I come home from Pomona. It was sitting there waiting on me. Amy actually picked me up in the airport with it. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Going to get a big old muscle car and be great. Man, that thing is really cool. Like, it's a luxury car that happens to be really fast. So I haven't taken it to the strip yet. Things haven't worked out yet. We have a Wild Wednesdays up at the Lucas Oil Raceway there in Indy, about 3 miles from the house. But I got my drag radials for it that came in. I got them Monday. So when we get home from Atlanta, first Wednesday, we're going to the drag strip. We're going to go play.
Do you think there's any chance they can just forget about that somehow?
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if they just never called you about sending it back. And
I'm just going to say, I thought you guys picked that up already.
Yeah, you mean you didn't pick it up? I don't know where it is.
I don't know. I thought some guy come and said, but
exactly.
The good thing is they're doing it again this year. They're going to offer it again this year. So I would like to be able to do that and then maybe get a his and hers.
There you go.
Because Amy likes the thing better, almost as much as I do.
Yeah.
She loves it. She gets the black key. I'm going to put it out there right now. I get the red key. She gets the black key. But actually, she wants to go to the track and run it. That's how much falling in love drag racing she has become, because now she wants to go to the track and run the Hellcat.
Sounds like to me she's loving drag racing more than she's loving you these days. Hey, we're going to be right back with more with Tommy Johnson Jr. Stay with us here on the Straight Line.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Even though one person stands on the podium, NASCAR is a team sport. From the pit crew to the wind tunnel, teams are using technology to gain a competitive advantage. So why shouldn't your construction team? At Procore, we designed our software to do just that. Our easy-to-use mobile tool helps connect your teams, projects, and data so you can get more done in less time. For more information or to schedule a free demo, visit Procore.com.
Could your car use a spring cleaning? Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts during Clean Car Month for great deals on everything you need to keep your car looking new. Like Mother's California Gold Wash and Wax, just $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. That's a $6 savings. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome back to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Make sure you stay in tune with all the programming here on MRN this week as we head to Talladega. It's all part of Procore Week here on MRN. It's going to be an exciting week with all of our programming as we head towards Talladega. And here on Straight Line, we're getting ready for the drag racing right here in Charlotte, our backyard. Literally just 5 miles from where we're sitting right now, maybe?
No. As the crow flies, probably about a mile or less.
Yeah, it's ZMAX Raceway with the 4-wide this week. It's going to be really exciting. Tommy, just before we get back to the racing, we were talking during the break there about your Charger Hellcat, and we hear a lot about how the manufacturers work with racers in developing cars and all that, and you were running through the list of stuff to come on that Hellcat. It's all drag racing components. Does Dodge work with you guys much on it all?
Yeah, the Dodge has been very helpful. It's really cool to see them kind of get energized again and get back involved in drag racing and just see how performance-oriented they are. And it's, the American public, they like performance. They want the meat, So to see this thing have all the whistles and bells on it, but yet at the same time, it's a true modern muscle car. I mean, it comes with a trans brake, a line lock, sport suspension. You can change the suspension. You can change all this stuff on it right on the dash, and it's cool that they're getting involved in the factory showdown cars, and the drag pack cars and all that. So it's cool to see the manufacturers use racing and then take it to the public in your average street cars. So it's really cool to see them and their involvement now with our bodies. We're running a new Hellcat body on the funny cars, and to see the development they put into that, and it's really neat to see them get so behind the program.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tommy, we talked about the runner-up finish at the last 4-wide, and then also we talked a little bit about, and I'm sure listeners, viewers have seen, the axle broke at Phoenix and these different things have happened. Like, you guys have had a little bit of bad luck coming your way.
Yeah, we've made some highlight reels this year so far. It's I said, everybody says, how do you keep these things from blowing up? I said, don't start it.
Right.
That they won't blow up if you don't start it. But a fuel car, you're going to have these. You might have one a year, or you might have one every 2 years. We had 3 and 6 runs. We blew the thing up, destroyed the body, and they were all from 3 random problems, unforeseeable problems. Like you said, axle breaking would never happen. It just doesn't happen. We had an ignition misfire, which ignition doesn't misfire, but it did. And then we had an intake valve train problem, which it doesn't normally happen. You can't foresee it happening. So it was a run of bad luck. Yeah, like I said, we aren't running bad. We're not having a bad season. We're having some bad luck, but
to put that into perspective for a fan, like something, when you have one of those bad deals, that's $100,000
easy
deal.
I mean, the bodies are $75,000. Yeah. Just the body. It doesn't include the parts that blew up in the engine, the superchargers, the manifolds. It breaks the manifold. It tears up fuel lines. It destroys a lot of stuff. So, each one of three of those, I mean, probably 125, 130,000 a piece.
Man.
3 in a row. So we had any extra budget, it's gone already.
Yeah.
So
Don Schumacher's cutting a fishing trip short.
Yeah, he was looking at us like, we need to fix this. Yeah, I says, don't worry, I'm in the seat. We need to fix this. It's,
I don't like this.
It's incredible what you feel when those blow up like that. I mean, the motors, my feet can touch the bell housing, so you're sitting right on top of the engine. Yeah. And when it blows up, like the 2 in Phoenix weren't real bad. We've built a lot of new safety features on the cars. I mean, we got titanium shields around us to protect us, and they weren't too bad. I mean, it rings your bell a little bit, but the one in Florida, I don't know why it was so much worse. It was the middle of the track, and the thing was really running good. We were actually running good enough to go back to number 1 qualifier, and kaboom! And I was like, "Ooh!" I mean, it rung my bell pretty good, So it's amazing how much of an explosion that is. Everybody said, "What's that feel like?" I said, "Drop a stick of dynamite right there and let it go off. We'll find out."
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. And
right.
It's the concussion then that rings your bell.
Yeah, it's just the percussion off of it. I mean, it's I said it's funny, your human body kind of saves itself, because I didn't see the fire, I didn't see the body leave the car. Next thing I know, I'm like, whoa, body's gone. Like I didn't see any of it, but I was there. I was right in the middle of it. But so it happens fast. It happens really fast. There's nothing you can do to prepare for it. I mean, I almost would rather have that happen than I always tell everybody, like, the chute's not opening. That's way worse. I had the throttle hang open and the chutes didn't open either.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
It gives you way too much time to think about it.
Yeah.
I know what's coming. I got too much time to think. But when they blow up, it's like, boom, it's over. All right, shut this off, do that. It's all done. So it is part of racing. Everybody says, how do you get back in there? I said, well, I'm not very smart, for one. And then 2, what's the odds it'll happen again? That's why I always tell them, what's the odds that it's going to happen twice?
Yeah, it's like,
or 3 times.
Or 3 times,
Right. A little bit more good news coming into this 4-wide is your mom's not been feeling well when she's coming home from the hospital.
Yeah,
so that's great news.
Coming home today, gets out at Duke noon today. My dad went to go get her. So, she's had a rough go for almost 2 years now, and Duke's been doing really well for her. She's spent some time there, and they've really good place, taking care of her. And nobody couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. Then they found out. Nobody wanted to do the surgery. No, like, oh, no, we're not going to touch that. Guy at Duke says, yep, come bring her up. I'll do it. So it's good to see her come home. It's a shame she's had to go through this for so long, but I think we finally might have her fixed. And,
good.
It's kind of ironic. Sean Langdon's dad just had a liver transplant,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in Duke. And the team of doctors that worked on my mom worked on him. And my dad was up there last week with my mom and went and visited Sean's dad. So he even had my mom's doctor go visit him. Said, you got another drag racer in there. So so they're taking good care of the drag racing family up there. Great place, doing great things. So
that's great. We had Ron Capps, your teammate, on not too long ago, and he was talking about the new Charger Hellcat body and how different it is. How are you adjusting to it, and where are you with the progress of it?
You know, visually looking out of it, I can't tell any difference. You know, driving it, they worked on downforce. You know, a couple years ago, we started this thing where we laid the headers back, and it really made a big difference. The cars picked up in performance because it's actually shoving the car. The side effect from that is it took a lot of downforce away from the car, and it made these cars really evil to drive. You know, if the car makes a move, you turn it. You got to have front wheels on the ground.
It's called a Hellcat for a reason.
Yeah. You got to have the front wheels on the ground for it to come back. Well,
Right.
we worked on it. Dodge did a lot of work on building in frontal downforce for us. You know, we could keep adding weight to the car keep the nose down, but that just slows it down, more weight. So they've been able to design this body with more front downforce, more rear downforce, and just did a lot of work on it. Unfortunately, my blow-ups have every time you develop a new body, you're going to find stuff like, okay, this wasn't quite what we thought it was, and so we're making some changes to it. You know, we're going to make some changes and to the burst panel areas, trying to strengthen the body a little bit. We found maybe a weak spot in the new design, so it's neat that Dodge come right in and, man, what can we do to make it better? And so we're making a revision to it, but it's been great. You know, I love how behind they are on it, and instead of being like, wow, you blew up our body, we're like, what can we do to make it better? You know, so it's cool. It's a slick piece. It's easy to drive. I like that a lot.
Man.
You know, neat thing about your car is, and we've talked about it before when we've had you on calling in, the Make-A-Wish deal, and Terry Chandler, her dream for, making some days really good for some kids that don't have the opportunity. And then now that's continued on. Terry, unfortunately, we lost her a couple years ago, but she's kept this going, and what an impact that's made on a lot of families.
A lot of people. You know, she was a very unique individual, but had done well in life, and wanted to give back to others. Her brother raced, and Johnny Gray, and he retired, and she said, I don't want to retire. I want to keep going to the racetrack. These are my family. I love these people. And so she stepped up, sponsored the team, and says, we're going to make this a giving car. I don't need my name on it. I don't want the publicity or anything. So they worked a deal with Make-A-Wish, and Make-A-Wish pays zero. Nothing at all from Make-A-Wish. And this car
basically the team is sponsoring Make-A-Wish to get them exposure.
We're sponsoring Make-A-Wish. Make-A-Wish sponsoring us, and we have Make-A-Wish kids out to the track every Saturday. We have a big group of Make-A-Wish kids come out. They just to enjoy themselves for a day. All that stuff they're going through, they're fighting for their life. Yep. And the cool thing about it, I didn't realize at the time, was their families are going through it with them. And to see the family come out to the track as a family and be normal family for a day. Come to the races, enjoy themselves, see the kids laughing, the parents are laughing, having a great time, and it was just it's an incredible thing that she did, paying it forward, and we've done this now 6 years. She also stepped up, sponsored Jack Beckman's car. That's Infinite Hero, so she's helping a lot of military families' lives, with the Infinite Hero Foundation, and it's just a really neat program and very unique. I mean, who else can say, well, my sponsor doesn't pay anything? We're sponsoring them on the side of the car, so. Just her husband, Doug Chandler, he was at the race with us in Vegas, 4-wide, and just he wasn't as much into racing. He was at other hobbies, but he's getting hooked, I think, now. We went to both cars were in the final at 4-wide, and Doug was pretty pumped up and just really cool. He said Terry would want this to keep going, so I want to keep it going for her. So it's really a neat program, just a special family, that spend all this money for other people. You don't see that a lot these days, so it's really cool to be involved with it and just be a part of it.
It is, without a doubt, one of the coolest, if not the coolest, sponsorships in all of motorsports. We're going to come right back. We got a little bit more for you right here on the Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Changing your oil regularly helps keep your vehicle running at its best. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, purchase 5 quarts of Pennzoil conventional motor oil and a MicroGuard filter for just $24.99. Save big with Pennzoil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Listen up, builders. That's all that separates first place from dead last. When every second counts, you don't have time to second-guess your tools. That's why Procord's construction management platform was built to help your teams stay on budget, on schedule, and in control. With easy-to-use mobile tools, our software makes managing construction projects easier, whether you're building an airport or a carport. For more information or to schedule a free demo, visit Procord.com.
Smell that tire smoke and race fuel? For some, it's a toxic smell. For us, it's intoxicating. It's the smell of Kyle Busch's 8th season win and Truex's comeback at Pocono. The sweet smell of Eric Jones's first Cup Series win. Take a deep breath, and if you smell it too, You're family now. 2018 was a great season for the Toyota Racing family. Buckle up for 2019. Follow us at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places.
NASCAR is a registered trademark for the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Back for our final segment here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Shahina, Doug Herbert, and our special guest here today, Tommy Johnson Jr., driver of the Make-A-Wish Funny Car. And just before we get into our closing up of the segment, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the Make-A-Wish program, the coolest thing you've done because of that, and then if anybody out there wants to get involved or support Make-A-Wish, how do they do that?
You know, I knew what Make-A-Wish was before we got involved. I knew what it was, but now that we're involved with it and we actually get to see it firsthand, it's an amazing organization, what they do. And, you know, getting to have the kids out was cool, but we were actually requested to grant a wish. And we had a young guy that he wanted to drive a race car and win a race and win a trophy for his team. So with Terry's help, Doug Foley supplied the dragsters. We did the two-seat dragster. He and I were in the one car. Antron and Jack Beckman were in the other car, and we actually got a race on track with him and I in the two-seater. He couldn't drive, but he could a little bit, so we gave him some hand controls, and so he and I actually won the race, and were able to present him with the trophy. Mellow Yellow people at the top end with the Wally, and they paraded him back in the Mellow Yellow vehicle in front of the grandstands, and one of the neatest things was that the entire grandstand gave him a standing ovation, and I hit him. I says, "They don't do that when I win," you know. So it was really a neat deal, and we've actually now granted 3 wishes. So to be that are involved with drag racing, we had a junior dragster kid racing a junior dragster. We had at Charlotte here a year ago. We had a boy that wanted to race a pro stock motorcycle. He was blind; he couldn't do that. But Angela Sampe, she stepped up and did it with us, and she helped us out, and he got to spend the weekend with her, and it was really cool. So it's a great organization that does great things, and you can go to wish.org and make a donation to them, and it it goes to the right thing. You know, This is one of these charity organizations that does really well with what you give them. They make sure it happens.
That's fantastic. Okay, it's all going to be a part of the 4-wide this weekend at ZMAX Raceway, and we really hope you come out and join us at the drags. So here's how you do it. Just go to NHRA.com, click on the red ticket tab at the top right corner, and get some tickets and come on out for the pancake breakfast on Saturday.
That's right.
The racing
Tommy Johnson Jr. pit area, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, there's some other races coming up in the Southeast, in Atlanta and Virginia, where you can see these guys race.
There you go. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun. What are you guys looking forward to this weekend coming into the race? Recent runner-up in Vegas, 6th in points. You're doing pretty good. You got some momentum.
Yeah, we're doing all right. You know, and we seem to do well here. I've always done well at the Charlotte race, and you know, this year the surface was newer. Last year they'd repaved this track. Now it's got some season on it. You're going to see better numbers than what we've seen in the past, and not going to be smoking hot. It's going to be relatively good conditions. So you're going to see some good racing, very good racing.
Well, that leads us right into red light, green light, and I think green light's pretty easy, and that is the fact that we've got racing here in our backyard.
Right. We're racing 4-wide. The weather's looking pretty good. Maybe a little iffy on Friday, but I'm guessing they'll be all right.
But the one challenge with having all your buddies in your backyard is a crazy request, and you got one just moments ago as we were getting ready to come on the air.
Yeah, right.
Steve Johnson.
Steve Johnson. Yeah, Steve Johnson texted me. So our friend Steve Johnson, motorcycle racer, hey, Doug, I need some decals made. You got anybody that can do that? Okay.
Yeah.
He's working right up to the last minute.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff you
He
deal
always
with.
is. He goes like crazy.
That's the kind of stuff you deal with when all your buddies come to town,
That's
right?
Yeah. Well, and what happens, right?
I got family here. Yeah.
You got family here. Yeah. You go to your other, you go to Indy and everybody wants tickets or whatever. So
how many tickets did you have to get this weekend?
Enough. Plenty.
Yeah. You left 2 for Lucas and I.
Yeah,
My son and I are coming,
right?
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. So now that takes us to red light. And I think the red light, unfortunately, for all the drag racing fans here in the Charlotte area, is who we're not going to see.
Right.
Tony Schumacher still.
Tony Schumacher still out, which is kind of amazing, right? I mean, with all the influence that Schumacher Racing has to put something together, it is a little bit surprising to me that they haven't found some way to get the Sarge back on the racetrack.
Well, you're right there. What's the deal?
I mean, I know they're working on it. They're working on a lot of things. They were pretty close on a couple things, didn't come through, but continuing to work on it. The truck and trailer, the car, it's all sitting there. I see it at the shop. It's sitting there ready to go. So I think they're looking for the right deal too. I don't think they just want to throw something on it. It's a championship caliber team that you don't want to just degrade it or bring it down a little bit. You want to be able to go out here and do it right. I think they want to do it right, so they're looking for the right partner. And I know they're continuing to work on it. I hear stuff every week that they're meeting with this company or meeting with that company. So they're still working on it hard.
That's what Tony said to us too when he was on the air, looking for the right partner. But the other thing he said is, there's a window here. I can get in, and then I can do good enough that I can get in the countdown.
That's the best thing about the countdown. Yeah.
What's the cutoff on that?
Sean Langdon did it a few years ago when he came to DSR. I think it was, 2 or 3 more races. Then you'd have to win some to get in there. But, it's doable. You could still miss the first 7 races and make it, I think.
And you come in like Robert Height did a few years ago. He barely got into the countdown, 10th spot, and then ended up winning the championship. So, like I say, it's possible, but it gets harder. Every week it gets harder.
You got to close that gap, and it's getting further away. So, we came in the countdown last year in 7th, finished 3rd, almost 2nd, 1 round out of 2nd. So, it can be done. I think with the do or die line, you gotta make it here at some point.
Okay, final question for you before we let you go. You've been running great. Maybe got all the bad luck out of the way. What do you got to do now to get this title locked up this year?
Yeah, I've been close. Finished in the top 3 like 3 or 4 years now, and we're close. You have to learn from your mistakes, and I think we've done that. We've started off better this year. You can't start the countdown 7th. You need to start at top 5, top 4, and right now we're on pace to do that.
Okay. Tommy Johnson Jr., the Make-A-Wish Funny Car. It's going to be competing at Z-Max Raceway this weekend. Doug and I are going to be there. Pancake breakfast on Saturday.
Yep. Make
sure you're there for that. We're going to be out there. If you see us, come by, say hello. We'd love to see you. Talk a little drag racing.
Drag racing, that's what we do. Nitro cars, 40,000 horsepower. I mean, how can you go wrong?
Everybody says, can I be right here? Yeah, you can be right here. It's a drag race, man.
For Doug Herbert, I'm Ralph Sheen. Thanks to Tommy Johnson Jr. See you soon.